on September 28, 2023, Kazakhstan's President Tokayev dropped a bombshell in Germany, pledging full commitment to sanctions and brushing off Russian territorial concerns. Putin-led Russian government has been under the radar of the United Nations ever since it attacked Ukraine. Many countries have stood against the country on its attack and are striving hard to put sanctions on Russia. These include the United States, which has imposed aggressive sanctions against most of Russia's financial sector and layers of the country's richest and most powerful people. The European Union and Canada have frozen assets of Russia's central bank in their countries. The United Kingdom is stepping up sanctions on Russia by banning diamond imports. Japan, Taiwan, Australia, and New Zealand have all imposed aggressive sanctions against most of Russia's financial sector.
Russia's currency hitting a 17-month low.
Russian domestic production has come to a complete standstill.
Dramatic fall.
Even historically neutral countries such as Switzerland and Singapore have agreed to partial sanctions. But there's one country that has provided continuous support to Russia, namely Kazakhstan. One of the major reasons for this alliance is its free currency conversion with the Russian government. But in a recent press conference during Kazakhstan's president's visit to Germany, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev made several conflicting statements. So, what did he say? Let's find out. Before we discuss the current relationship and what happened during the Kazakh president's visit to Germany, let's understand its geography and history. Kazakhstan is located in Central Asia, with a small portion, about 4%, in Eastern Europe. It's the 9th largest country globally, more than twice the combined size of the other 4 Central Asian states, and 60% larger than Alaska. The country borders Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan to the south, Russia to the north, Russia and the Caspian Sea to the west, and China's Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region to the east. But did you know that Russian influence in Kazakhstan dates back to the 1500s? During the reign of Kassym Khan from 1511 to 1521, the Tsardom of Russia became the first major state to establish diplomatic relations with the Kazakh Khanate. With Russian expansion to the south and east, Kazakhstan came under Russian influence, and the 3 hordes of the Khanate submitted to the Russians in the 18th century. After the final destruction of the rule of the Kazakh Khans, Russian Turkestan was established in 1868, encompassing most of present-day Kazakhstan. The modern Republic of Kazakhstan became a political entity during the 1930s Soviet subdivision of Russian Turkestan. Now, fast forward to almost 100 years later, the relationship between Russia and Kazakhstan has been fruitful on both ends. The relationship was made sound by the strong socio-economic ties in the form of parallel imports. Parallel imports are a way for Kazakhstan to trade while following international sanctions. This has made Kazakhstan a key player for Russia to get imported goods and services. During a recent visit to Germany, Kazakhstan's president, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, made some interesting comments. He said that Kazakhstan will continue to work with Russia, but also follow the sanctions against Russia. Kazakhstan is not anti-Russia, he clarified. We firmly adhere to a course of comprehensive cooperation with Russia. This led to discussions about whether Kazakhstan's president was trying to stay neutral, or if he was strengthening his ties with Russia. It's known that Kazakhstan has benefited economically from its relationship with Russia. Just last year, Kazakhstan witnessed a remarkable surge in its external trade turnover, reaching an unprecedented $84.4 billion. This marked a significant departure from the country's historical export figures, which had stayed within $60 billion annually in the past 7 years. The export surge, particularly in a year when oil prices averaged around $70 per barrel, invites interest and points towards swift economic play. Further, Kazakhstan's imports in 2022 experienced an unprecedented surge, jumping from an average of $34 billion since 2015 to $50 billion. This sharp increase cannot be easily explained by domestic consumption growth, as there were no significant changes in citizens' incomes during the same period. Kazakhstan's tactics remind me of a phrase, playing both sides of the fence. In other words, Kazakhstan is intentionally benefiting from its position between Russia and the West, maximizing its economic opportunities without committing wholeheartedly to either side. In short, it has to showcase a neutral face in front of the world and continue its progress with Russia. Another example is a significant uptick in intermediate trade, whereby goods are exported to Kazakhstan and then sold to Russia. This includes dual-use goods, which have legitimate civilian and military applications. These goods are then being resold to Russia, further complicating the enforcement of sanctions. For instance, there's a good chance that a truck scheduled to deliver wigs might be delivering military supplies. That's how deep the import operations run between these countries. On paper, Kazakhstan has been spot on with its strategy. Its financial institutions play a crucial role in maintaining compliance. By steering clear of correspondent accounts with sanctioned banks and avoiding contracts involving restricted goods and services, Kazakhstan builds a protective shield against potential inquiries. Another explanation for these efforts might be related to the customs union advantage. Just like the cloak of invisibility in Harry Potter, the customs union hides away the illegitimate trade between the two countries. Leveraging the customs union with Russia, Kazakhstan exploits the absence of customs posts on the border. It facilitates the seamless transportation of goods, allowing parallel imports to operate within a different economic coordinating system. The lack of scrutiny at the border enables this act, with unconventional methods like cash transactions and inconspicuous transportation contributing to the trade dynamic. Kazakhstan is also playing the cards right on the business forefront. For instance, registering a Kazakhstani company with Russian citizens is a streamlined process, requiring minimal documentation. Kazakhstani companies enter into agreements with proxy companies of Russian enterprises facing sanctions, forming a vital component of the parallel import mechanism. Further, major Russian marketplaces, exemplified by Ozon, aggressively expand into Kazakhstan's logistics service market. Ozon's significant investments in logistics infrastructure signal a consolidated effort to streamline cargo flow, including parallel imports from Kazakhstan to Russia. Not to mention, the free conversion of rubles to tenge emerges as the linchpin, providing Russia with unrestricted access to Kazakhstan's currency market. This financial mechanism indirectly influences Kazakhstan's economic stability, allowing Russia to export unsecured rubles and exert control over sovereign currency reserves. Interestingly, Kazakhstan has continuously balanced ties between both sides by selling petroleum and natural gas to its northern neighbor at artificially low prices, allowing heavy investment from Russian businesses, and concluding an agreement with the Baikonur Cosmodrome. A notable incident occurred in January 2022, when Kazakhstan faced unrest and requested assistance from the Collective Security Treaty Organization, or CSTO, led by the Russian Federation. For the first time, the CSTO answered a call for aid and deployed some 2,500 troops to guard key facilities in Kazakhstan. This intervention was seen as a significant move that helped stabilize the situation in Kazakhstan and indirectly assisted Russia by preserving a government that was friendly towards it. Numerous countries continue to succumb to corruption. No matter how hard they try with their philanthropic efforts, the tag of corruption causes harm unprecedentedly. Kazakhstan has been at the forefront of these corruption allegations. The Corruption Perceptions Index paints a sobering picture for Kazakhstan. It ranked 101st among 180 countries in terms of perceived corruption. It placed alongside nations like Albania, Panama, and Peru, highlighting the fertile ground for illicit activities like parallel imports to flourish. For those of our viewers who don't know, high levels of corruption weaken border controls and transportation routes, making them susceptible to manipulation and exploitation. Officials turn a blind eye to sanctioned goods crossing borders, transforming the parallel import system into a booming, albeit unethical market. The efforts that Kazakhstan has incorporated are also filled with detrimental challenges. Controlling this phenomenon proves immensely challenging for Kazakhstan. The Eurasian Economic Union, with its free movement of goods and capital and the ease of ruble conversion, opens doors for sanctioned goods to masquerade as legitimate trade. The growth of the parallel import system in Kazakhstan is evident. The country's ability to regulate this system is hindered by its customs union with Russia, unrestricted ruble conversion, rampant smuggling, and high risk of corruption. When contemplating potential solutions, one could consider the possibility of Kazakhstan leaving the Eurasian Economic Union, or EAEU, and ending the free conversion of the ruble. However, this option is unlikely to gain serious consideration from the country's political elite due to fears of possible retaliatory actions from Russia. These retaliatory actions could exploit existing social, economic, and political rifts in Kazakhstan and impose substantial costs on the country. Potential measures could include halting the operation of the Caspian Pipeline Consortium, or CPC, launching information warfare, fueling local ethnic conflicts in certain regions, and enforcing economic embargoes on regions reliant on Russian imports. The question that often comes to mind is how can Kazakhstan avoid international incidents while maintaining strong socio-economic ties with Russia? For now, we know that the middle-class population has been stable due to the relationship between Russia and Kazakhstan. Let's not forget that parallel imports have helped Russian companies tackle sanctions and elevate their businesses. So the bottom line is, even with the controversial statement by the Kazakhstan president on sanctions against Russia, it seems both parties are in a win-win situation. However, the real question is, will this friendship last?